Hello and welcome to episode number 6 out of 7. We are almost done with a 7-day series. Okay, so for us women in our 50s in network marketing or thinking about joining network marketing, this one is for you. Hey, my name is Sue, and we are going to talk about handling the eye rolls. Yes, those crazy eye rolls that people give us from family, friends, and doubters. Okay, so this one can be highly emotional because when we decide to do something, it's so interesting if we go the traditional track of going to school or going to get a 9-to-5 job. Nobody thinks twice of it. And nobody thinks twice of it if you choose to switch your career paths or from one business to another. Nobody absolutely ever thinks twice of it. And they're like, good for you. But as soon as you do that in the home-based business field, people go, what's wrong with you? And it's not what's wrong with you. It's you realize you did not find your calling. You weren't comfortable there. Whatever the question at hand is that you're asking yourself is the truth at the heart of the matter. Been there, done that numerous times. Sometimes you're thinking, oh my gosh, not again. This is not happening to me again. And you have to just think about it from this angle that whatever you're meant to go through, you're meant to go through, whether it's good or bad. And here's a line my father taught me years ago when I was just starting out on the road of working. I was in my teenage years, and I'd come back and I'd tell him stories of things that happened at work, and he would just chuckle and he says, there's 2 things you can learn. You can learn what to do at the place you're working and what not to do. Wow, like seriously was so powerful to me back then, because when I looked back at all the different things, I thought I wanted to be a nurse back in the day. I really honestly thought I wanted to be a nurse. I had nurses in the family, and when I went and looked, actually I was a nurse's aide for a few years, and when I realized what happened as a nurse's aide and what happened as a nurse and how they lived, not the nurses, but those that are getting taken care of, I realized that was not the road for me. I did not want to be a part of that path. I wanted to be more into the naturals. Unbeknownst to me, at age 16, my thought was already thinking like that. Like, how crazy is that? Oh my gosh, you guys, like over 40 years ago. Over 40 years ago, my mind was already there. And no influence from anyone on thinking patterns. Grew up in a family of 12, you guys, 3rd to the youngest. And yes, I was like, oh my gosh. And then I got into network marketing, and I was the first one to get into network marketing in my family. So trust me, I had the doubters, and I had family and friends looking at me cross-eyed. And I even had people make fun of me talking about, oh yeah, she would carry a suitcase around of essential oils. No, I never carried a suitcase around of essential oils. I once carried a bag, small one, over to my parents just to help my dad out with the situation. And in the end, just gave him all the oils that were in there. And I thought, you know what? We can just work them out, leave them here, and we can use them when we're here. But that is how people think of you. And it is okay. Like, at first it kind of hurt, and then I was like, you know what? It comes from fear because they feel they could never do that, even though we both know that, yes, they can do this. If their heart's in it, they can do this. And it's okay, because I realized, you guys, the biggest thing is my heart was in it, and I was working for the person. Whoever came to me and found me and needed help, I helped them. And with that said, I was able to continue that path because it was paid for that path. And probably would have continued doing it had I not, because I helped people that weren't in my teams. I helped people that were struggling outside, but really didn't want to go full board using the products that I had, because they weren't just essential oils. There were supplements, there was personal care, and I was okay with wherever they were. I met them where they were at. And unbeknownst to me, like, that was a natural gift And you can tell, like, many times when you look back at certain people when they're talking about their callings, they find that those are the kind of situations you look back at and you go, oh, I know I'm right where I should be because I'm enjoying it and I'm loving it. Okay, had to check my dog right there. Ruby Scooby. Anyway, so with that, I just wanted to share that with you because years later, after one of my parents passed away, I was able to take a whole month off and my check grew during that time. You guys, like, where does that happen in any other business, any other job? Very, very rare. Very, very rare. And then it happened after my second parent. And at that point, a few of them joined because they're like, aren't you going to lose your job? Aren't you, like, you need to go to work. Why are you here every day at, like, cleaning up the townhome and doing this stuff, And I'm like, huh? Because I understood network marketing. And then I was thinking about this later and I was like, oh, they don't even understand the concept. So I explained it very briefly of why I could do what I could do. And then within a week, I had 4 out of 11 join my team. And it's okay. It's okay when things like that happen because when they're ready, they'll find you. You just have to, I'll be honest, you have to tell them what you're doing and you just let it go at the end by telling them, hey, if you want, here's what I'm doing. If you feel it's a good fit for you, great. If not, it's okay. Because when you do the takeaway at the end, you guys, it lets them be them and come on their own speed instead of our time, right? It's on their time. So anyway, back to this. So why are people the closest to us often the least supportive? Well, it comes from they don't know what you're getting into, for one, and they're really worried on one hand, or maybe they just don't want you going there and they know it, but they did bad or they didn't do good when they did it. Whatever the reason, doesn't matter. If you want to try something, absolutely put your heart and soul into it and do it. You'll find out real fast if this is your cup of tea, like I did. And that's another story for another day. So again, the psychology behind people talking and saying negative things to you is because it's their fears, not yours. They're projecting their fears onto you of why you shouldn't do it or what could potentially happen. I've been there and I've said the same thing to my kids on certain times and I'm like, hold it, don't project your fears onto your children or other loved ones. It's one thing if you say, hey, this happened to me or I know of this, but absolutely do what your heart desires. And that's mostly what I've said to my kids and when others have come to me and talked. We do what's in our heart. And at the end of the day, you and I both know that if you don't, it doesn't matter if you give your support or not, right? Doesn't matter. They're going to still do what they feel in their heart. It may not be today, it may be in the future. And then they're hurt because you didn't support them and they didn't do it sooner. So your best bet in this situation, as long as it's legal, you give them your support, right? You give them your support. It doesn't mean that you have to be all in. It just means you support them in their endeavors, right? Because you know what? My dad was the same way with me when I did network marketing. He was so grateful that I was making a nice income with what I was doing because none of the other siblings had done this. So, okay, so then again, next question is what to say when someone asks, is that a pyramid thing? You come up with your own line and what you're comfortable saying. But, sometimes I chuckle and I will say, oh my gosh, great question. Because what business out there isn't a pyramid scheme? Because you might want to ask them a question when they ask you, is that a pyramid scheme? And you might say, well, what do you mean by pyramid scheme? Because they may think something different, but typically it means, oh, somebody at the top is making all the money. What business is there not? Even nonprofit. What business does someone not make money at the top? You tell me, go show me something. And I'm just saying it. So you look at Walmart, you look at Target, you look at any storefront out there, and somebody at the top is making the money. So again, so you can say whatever line you're comfortable with it. I laugh it off and just say, oh my gosh, I guess all businesses out there must be a pyramid scheme then. Don't support them. Don't go shop. Don't shop the grocery stores. Don't go shop those, Amazon. Don't go shop the Targets and the Walmarts of the world, right? Okay. With that said, there's your line. You can figure it out and go from there. What you're comfortable saying. So, why you don't need everyone's approval to build this? Oh my gosh. So I've been in this like 30 years. Going back to my original one that bit me with the thought of doing network marketing. And I'll tell you why. So, almost over 30 years ago, I answered an ad in the newspaper because I was looking for work from home. My kids were little, and I was wanting something to do that was talking to adults at least without having to talk to kids all day, right? And I wanted just something little. And then I thought, okay, so I showed up to this place, and I thought, this is weird. It's like all like a meeting style, like what the world? And I thought, well, whatever, I'll just sit it out, sign in, sit it out, figure out what this is. And halfway through, I said, oh, this is like selling something from home. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be open-minded. And I listened all the way to the end. And then I heard the stories of people with income and people with their health journeys. And I was like, okay, at the very least, I can walk out with a kit and lose some weight. And there started my journey with Herbalife years ago. And I wasn't chained to a desk like the ad said. Are you chained to a desk? I was chained to a house, jokingly. That's what, at the time you feel like when you're only talking baby talk to kids and always on their level. I was like, man, I could never be a teacher for little kids because, 100 times 100, right? All day long. And I didn't mind it, but I was like, I needed a break. And that was my break. And I don't know how many, I did home parties and then grew from there. The only challenge was when I was doing it, we didn't have subscription services like we have now. So subscription services back then was non-existent until I gave my whole team to my upline and said, you know what? I can't go run around town delivering products with my kids in the back all the time. This is just getting old. And of course we didn't, I had a few that would show up for door pickup. But that was it. And so I was like, so I gave them all to her and I said, here are my customers. Here are my people I'm caring for. You can have them all. And the very next month they went to subscription services. And I was like, oh my gosh. But at that point I was like, you know what? I'd still have to educate them on the new steps. And my kids were little, but I knew that at some point I was going to be back in the industry because I knew that these products had changed lives. And they felt good, and they made me feel good. They made others feel good. And I knew that I could be of service in that field. So with that said, then years later, yes, I joined another company, the essential oil company, and I did I used the products and eventually started building my business. And the rest is history. And then I've gone into other network marketing companies trying to find my niche again because I got a little bored. I got like, okay, I need to do something. I need to do something different because I know this is my calling, but I didn't know where I was at. So that's what I'm saying. When you get to that point, it's okay. It is no different than in a regular job. When you find it's not a good fit, whether it's the employees, the people there that you're working with, or the type of business, or, multiple situations, you can just say, hey, I can change my job. And people do that all the time. But yet, did you know a very high percentage of people that retire never like their job? I did not know this till I was doing some homework some years back, like 10 years ago or something, when I was writing a blog post. And I went, what? Why are they staying in a job that they don't like? But it's because of the unknown. People are afraid of the unknown. And I get it. I truly understand it because that's where I've been for the last 5 years or so. I was like, oh my gosh, I am not. Thank goodness. Here's where I'm going to tell you. Thank goodness I had the experience I had with my first one because I know that it's out there. good people are out there that want to help you have success. And not that it's just about that. It's about the culture, the community, the products, and how are you with that whole picture of that company. And I just kept saying, I've got to figure this out. I know I love this community of network marketers, but I got to figure out where I'm going. And I did. So why you don't need everybody's approval. You just keep plowing, and that's what I'm doing. So I want to teach you from all those little lessons that I just talked about. You don't need everyone's approval. You just have to kind of dive in. Thank goodness my husband now understands me. Years ago, he was like, I don't know anybody that is in network marketing that makes money. And months later, I showed him somebody that makes money in network marketing. And then went on to teach people the same thing. And there's many that want the income but don't want to apply themselves. And that is a huge difference. It is no different than if you go to a 9-to-5 job and you don't apply yourself, you're going to get fired, right? In a heartbeat. So if you don't show up and do the work, you'll get fired. And it's no different in network marketing. If you don't show up and do some work, your check does not grow, or you don't make a check. So keep that in mind when you're growing your team. You need to care for your team and love on them. Okay, so let me hit on the next topic here within this. So with that said, when you feel that you're not getting the support, find your circle of friends. I'm going to tell you that right out of the chute. They can be in your company, they can be out of your company, they can be local teams or groups that meet up, whether it's network marketing, direct sales, whatever. Find a group of people that you're comfortable with and that you can talk through things, because it's so huge in any business to find somebody, no matter what you're doing, that you can talk through things, because sometimes they can be just right there and you miss it. So with that said, next is, so find your circle of support. And then remember all the stories that I told you, the moment you get a little doubt that you almost are like ready to stop. And here is the truth. Not that I haven't been speaking the truth, but the truth about myself. And it's hard to tell people stories about yourself, what struggles you go with, because sometimes you just don't know how someone's going to take it. But I have been with the same company for 28 plus years. And in the last 5 years, I've tried various different ones and not felt like it's not my comfort zone for some reason or another. It's not fitting who I am. It's not giving me the drive, or maybe too much drive. So with that said, sometimes you just need to stop, and I call it brain dump. And I know some people don't like to do this, but it's okay. Whether you do it on your phone or on paper, you just take a notebook and you start dumping all your thoughts. And you leave it there, and periodically throughout the week, throughout the day, you look at it, look it over, and I'm sure more stuff will come. And I like to do brain dumping. And I've taught my kids and many other people to brain dump in network marketing, because sometimes that's what you need to do. You just need to brain dump, and you'll come up with a solution, or you'll come up with a reason of why you are doing what you are doing. And so with that said, I was brain dumping one day, and I was like, oh, this just is not feeling right again. Like, there is just something. And with that said, you have to stick by your gut instinct. And so as I was brain dumping, I let it go. Like I said, I was just brain dumping. And all of a sudden I heard another person in network marketing speaking about this same thing. And they said, sometimes you just have to let go, even though it seems like you just started, like you just wet your feet and put your feet into the pond, and you're like pulling back. Trust your instinct. as long as it's a good company, sometimes there might be little hiccups and you got to learn to kind of overcome those, like in any business, any job. But I'm talking about like the real gut in the heart feeling that if you are into something and you're feeling like this is a little bit, just a little bit too much for me, trust your gut and brain dump. And if you need to, talk to a person or two. But I came to the realization at that point that it just wasn't a good fit. No matter how hard I wanted it to fit, it just wasn't a good fit for this girl. And so don't feel that when you come to those doubts that you need to stop. No. You know, if your heart is in whatever it is, like mine's in network marketing, I feel like I've been more of a coach through a lot of this stuff, like coaching people through their challenges and stuff and talking through it. And ultimately, they get in for the products or whatever. It doesn't matter what we want to call ourselves, right? It just matters if we're giving from the heart. And so then I had to think about myself when here I am brain dumping to take my own advice. And I said, as hard as everything is in here, as much as I love this company and this product and this stuff, it's not a good fit for this person right here. And had to let go. But I think the challenge comes in is sometimes we say, but I haven't given, the doubts. I haven't given it enough time. Well, give it a year. How much is enough time? I gave the products. The products were good for me, but the products weren't good for everybody. So, you go back and forth and you're second guessing yourself. And so you're going to chuckle at this, but I went into, Cloud AI, dumped my thoughts, and not even minutes later after it spit that out, I just threw this question to my son, and he just started chuckling and saying, Mom, it's okay. You don't need to do that. You're feeling guilty, but it's not a good fit. It's okay. Just move on. Gently nudge me, just move on. And then my husband said, well, I was kind of shocked that you did that, but on the other hand, not shocked, but surprised, but on the other hand, wasn't. So, when people closest to you know you, they'll say it. They'll say the truth. But again, don't go by the naysayers being the negative. Not that you go around looking for, hearing all the good. I wanted to know, was I just not accepting the challenges in front of me? Or was it really that it was my heart saying, you need to move on? And that's what it was. It was not an easy step. And some people get upset about your moves. And some people say things when you do this that aren't so nice. But at the end of the day, it's okay, because you will know in your heart after you've left or after you've started something, if it's a good fit for you. And that's what I felt. It was a good fit to move on, as difficult as it was. So there is my message to you. This was the longest one I've done yet, but I really wanted to bring this to you because you're going to get people that say negative things to you. And remember, find the ones that support you, because there are many out there. And good luck on your journey, because I know you're going to enjoy it. If your heart is in it, you will enjoy it. So the next episode is going to be building to a legacy. You can do it.